So today I'm here with Jesse from Foraging, and if you don't know who this guy is, he has an incredible YouTube channel. Seriously, one of my favorite channels, all about foraging. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, definitely. So my channel is called Foraging, and over there I teach you about all things foraging. If it's outside, if it's in the wild, and you can use it in some way, then I want to know about it, and I want to teach all of you about it. So wild plants, fruits, mushrooms, nuts, everything you name it, we talk about it.
It's also Morel season right now, and I found my first Morel just the other day, and man, I had no idea what we had in store for us here.
Yeah, you enticed me with a photo of a Morel, and you're like, look at this thing that I found. And here I am, just one day later, to check out the property and explore it around. Wow, I was not prepared for what we discovered, and I can't wait for all of you to see it too.
Check it out. Right on the other side of this fence is where I found the first Morel last time.
Sweet.
And so we were finding them all along this fence line. So right here is where we found our first one.
No way. Okay, so this is an ash tree right here. People talk about Morels being associated with ash. I would say they're associated with many more things beyond that, but it is one of the ones that people classically talk about.
Is there like a spot that they usually are? Like, would they be out in the open, or are they usually out by trees?
I would say everywhere that I've found them has definitely been in more wooded environments. Friends of mine have literally found them like out in grass before. Okay. They are quite variable, but typically I'm gonna be looking for them in a more wooded area.
Because I've never even thought about trying to look in something like this.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's under a tree where there's big shagbark hickory. Like where I'm generally going, at least in North Alabama, would be like wooded and swampy or wet or creek bottom type environments. And I don't find a lot, for the record. But when I do, that's where I find them. This one's actually poisonous, if I'm not mistaken. This looks like a white snake root. And
casually touches it with his hand.
Yeah, well the thing is that, yeah, if I had to guess, most plants that are poisonous to ingest.
Okay.
So, you know, we can handle this, or people talk about poison hemlock being poisonous to touch. That has never been the case for me. That being said, like with especially poisonous plants like poison hemlock or water hemlock, if I am handling it, I'll like wash my hands after I use it, because they do have kind of like a dusty bloom on the outside. Wouldn't want to like eat my lunch with my hands after that. Yeah. Or something like that. But yeah, in my experience, outside of things like, you know, giant hogweed or poison ivy, poison sumac, stuff like that, poisonous plants are relatively, generally speaking, safe to touch, as well as poisonous mushrooms. In fact, there's not a mushroom that we know of that's dangerous to touch. Even destroying angel in our area, you can handle it just fine, like as long as you're not ingesting it. It doesn't matter ever, no matter, I could find probably 100 Morels in a year. I probably couldn't. But if I found 100 Morels in a year, the 101st one, I would still be just as excited. So this is incredible. It's
weird because right when you walk up, you see one, but then as you start looking around, you're like, oh, wow, there's 2, 3, 4.
Right over there, there's one as well. Yeah, the biggest thing with Morels, someone was saying this, they're like, one of the best ways to know where there's a bunch of Morels is where there's one Morel.
Yeah.
So whenever you find one, it's like, stop, slow down. There are countless situations where I found one, and you'll realize like, oh my gosh, like I almost stepped on this one, or I did step on that one. So, yeah.
I need to check under my feet now.
And a lot of times, like I'll basically like get low, because you can, oh, right over there. I didn't even see that one before.
Oh my gosh, that one's huge.
You can see them pop out much easier than you can see them from the top down. Oh, there's one over there in the distance too. Look at that, that's crazy. So what are we on? Let's look at the trees really quick. This tree right here looks like a winged elm, a hackberry right here, a cedar, which is interesting. I always joke, like when you're looking up like, what are Morel trees? You'll start off and they'll be like elm, apple, and ash. And then you'll find, oh, and tulip poplar, oh, and oak, oh, and hickory, oh, and maple. And then it's like, all right, well, now it's just all the trees.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really do just think that they are less preferential. Like a mushroom, at least in Eastern North America, that I would say is far more preferential would be chanterelles. I always find chanterelles with oaks. And I always find chicken of the woods with red oak, growing on dead or dying red oak. So morels are not as preferential as I think they're often made out to be.
There's one right in front of your knee too.
Yeah, I see this little guy right here. Perfect specimen right there.
Oh, and by the way, we have not found chicken of the woods or chanterelles yet, so you got to come back and help us find them.
Yeah. Those are, I would say, generally speaking, a much more pleasant foraging experience because they're way easier to find.
Well, here it's been the opposite of that. We can't stop.
If they're out there, you know. Finding a big one's really cool, but a lot of times the really big ones are starting to go a little bit bad. So yeah, that right there is a perfect morel. That's what you want. The main species that we have around us in our area is Morchella americana. So most of the ones that people find that are of this size, that's what it would be.
And so did you cut it off or did you pull it out?
I cut it off, but I could have also pulled it out. And it would have been fine either way. From a bunch of research that I've done, there is no strong evidence to suggest either way that pulling or cutting is drastically more or less beneficial. So whichever way is easiest for you is probably fine.
And so now that we found, I don't know, like there's probably like 10 of them around here, how do we know which ones to take and which ones to leave?
I would just say generally harvest ones that are a good state for harvesting. So like this little baby right here, it's probably gonna get a little bit bigger because, and you can also kind of think about the weather that's going on. Like if it's about to get super duper hot and dry, then it might not grow much more anyway. So we still have some good weather and this one might get a little bit bigger. So we'll leave it because it's really tiny. But then that one over there and this one, that's like big enough to gather and cook with. When they're at a good size for cooking with and using is when I would harvest them, generally speaking. So yeah, this one right here probably would be on the like not great side in terms of eating. It looks like it's getting really dark brown on the top right there. It's a little bit dry in parts. We can even smell it and see. Doesn't smell too bad. Yeah, if they start to smell a little bit like fishy or rotted, well, then black cherry. It's just about to start flowering too. Yeah, if I just had to guess, I wouldn't have expected to find them here, but that's what they do. That is exactly what they do.
And you were talking about black cherry in some of your recent videos. Can you eat black cherry?
You can. You can eat the black cherries of black cherry. Black cherries are in the bird cherry group, so that also includes things like choke cherry. And choke cherries were gathered, they're a lot smaller of a tree, they're nicer for foragers. And you can like dry the fruits and then grind them up to make a flour out of them. We don't know if black cherries were used in that way. They might have potentially too high of a cyanide content. Don't let that freak you out. There are amounts of cyanide in lots of different plants around the world. But I have personally gathered a lot of black cherry and juiced them or made syrup with them or things like that, and it's really, really good. So they're flowering right now, which is an amazing time to find black cherry, but also fruit trees in general. When they're flowering, it's an amazing time to find them. On my Patreon, there is an interactive foraging calendar, which has the flowering window and the fruiting window for all these trees. So you can know exactly when you should be out looking for them to see if they're in your area.
We need to make it a goal to make a meal out of only stuff we forage from our land. Yeah, we can do it. Like a salad or... And I think it's just so cool. Like there's so many weird things you never hear of.
There's one. Right down there. It's just sticking up. Directly to your left.
Oh, I see it. I see another one next to it too.
Do you? Oh yeah, to the right of it?
Yeah.
Oh, there's another one in between them. I'm pointing right at it right now.
Oh yeah, I see it now. It jumped right out. Look at that.
It's actually like, this is a nice situation because a lot of times, especially way earlier on in the season, you're looking for brown against brown. But in this case, things are coming up a bit more, so it's kind of a little bit of brown against green. So they're popping a little more, which is nice. Little baby right there.
Oh yeah.
And then there's a bigger guy right here. And then I thought
there's one right there.
and there's as much, oh dude, there's way more back here.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
That keep on more and more sticking out. I want to be careful where I'm stepping because I didn't see some of these at first. Here's one.
We're making this too easy for you.
This last Morel season.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I was done. Like I found some last weekend. I was like, okay, that's good. You know, I found morels for this year. I'll look again next year. And then you sent me the picture and I was like, nope, I'm looking for more morels.
So when is the season for morels?
That is a fantastic question, which doesn't necessarily have a very clear answer. I think a lot of people talk about ground temperature and things like that when it's like around like 55 degrees, 6 inches below the soil, around noon.
This is ridiculous.
Sorry, Dad's freaking out over. Dad, show me what you have in your hands right now.
Morels. Awesome.
A great way to know when to find morels is to join like a local like Facebook mushroom hunting group for your area and just wait for people to start posting pictures that are like around your county, or like around your latitude or things like that. But around North Alabama, generally speaking, it tends to fall in the second half of March to the first half of April, like the peak of the season. It'll be a little bit earlier or later depending on seasonality and how, you know, warm the spring was and stuff like that, but it generally falls in that time window. Also on the foraging calendar.
Look at this weird plant.
This is a good
I think.
That looks like, that's a little baby hickory, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you see, that's like a very classic hickory leaf scar and bud. Yeah, that one's a little bit on the small side, but you know, could also take it. For Morel specifically, I don't think that we have a lot of data as to whether or not harvesting is negative or beneficial to them. We do have data on that with chanterelles, and the data on chanterelle says that there's no impact. Between harvesting and not harvesting, and then between method of harvesting, no impact. Cutting or pulling, doesn't matter. Yeah, I would like to see more research on it before I make a definitive conclusion.
All right, so now we got this one.
Yeah,
It
this
looks,
guy's just kind of like,
looks burnt on the tip. What's
Yeah.
going on with that?
probably just got like extra dry at some point in time, and then didn't fully grow
So
in.
they start to get pretty dark as they get dry.
You could, yeah, I mean, there's probably a lot of factors that are determining what happens with that, drying or extra cold or different things like that. But yeah, not one that I would love for eating, I would guess. There you go. Oh, then there's some more down there. That's a nice one.
You want to get some video?
Oh, whoa. Dude, I'm telling you, the amount of times that I'll be like, I think I see them all, and then another one's right in front of me is crazy. Another thing is, I can't tell you how many times that I have found a morel, I'm like looking for them super hard, and then maybe we'll stop and I'll be talking to someone. And I'm like, anyway, and then I'll just look down and it's right there at my feet. And that will be the moment that I find them, and nothing when I was like looking really hard.
Right.
These ones are incredible. Look at that pattern.
Oh,
Kind
wow.
of like rough surface of it.
I hope it's capturing that. That's so cool. It reminds me of tripe.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I can see that. Woo. That's an awesome one. Man, this is awesome. That is a beautiful black walnut right there. Man, and look how perfectly straight it is.
Yeah,
too.
that's coming down.
That.
We're good. That's gonna go in our house. So.
Yeah, that's gonna make some incredible wood.
Two different ones that we know of that are producing fruit, and we noticed one of them had fruit it was dropping like 1 month after the other, and the
Interesting.
fruit tasted completely different, looked different, but so like it tastes like custardy and like really sweet. It was really good.
Yeah, that's the thing that people don't think about a lot of the times. Like, if we think about cultivars of different fruit trees or even vegetables, that, you know, one can be really different from another. In the wild too, one tree can be producing like with black cherry especially, like some of them are just kind of a little bit like bitter, like just kind of like medicine tasting. Others will be really sweet. So there is that variability. Some American persimmon that I find are like, you know, this big. Other ones that I find are like that big.
Oh wow,
So
we
it
don't
ju-
have any
it
of
just
those yet.
depends. Yeah. And the other trick with American persimmon is that they're dioecious. So there's separate female and male trees. And of course the females are the ones that produce the fruit.
Okay.
When they're flowering, which will probably be in about, what's it now, beginning of April, probably be in about 2 to 3 weeks, you can tell which one they are. Because female flowers are larger and there's one flower per node, and male flowers are smaller and there'll be like 2 to 3 per like little leaf node. They'll be kind of clustered.
Yeah, that's really good to know because, I mean, I've walked around at a few of them and most of them aren't producing fruit, but
Yeah.
that'd be a good thing to look for.
Yeah,
because-
you could tell like, oh, you know, this one is a male, so it wouldn't be. And you know, for getting wood, I don't think you probably wouldn't need many male trees around for the females to be able to produce their fruit. So you could like preferentially like go after the males if you wanted to
All right.
continue to get persimmon fruit. My favorite wild fruit, American persimmon. I love it.
Yeah, I really like it too. I finally got to try Pawpaw this year and I really liked it. I don't know, like I haven't had many of them, so it's probably between Pawpaw and persimmon for me.
Yeah, both of them are amazing.
But yeah,
by far.
I really learned to like persimmon this year because all I had before was Dad made me eat one that wasn't ripe. And it like does
Astringent, all the moisture in your mouth gone.
It's crazy. But yeah, that one tree that we have, it was just so good. We were eating them like crazy this year.
That's awesome. Yeah, they produce consistently. Like you can process them really easily. It's an amazing wild tree.
And is there any way to grow these on your own?
Not that we know of particularly well. Like a lot of, you'll see online, there's like Morel spawn bags and stuff, and those are generally just scams because it just doesn't work that way. But in recent years, like in the past 1 to 2 years, there is a company called the Danish Morel Project, where according to their footage and what they're selling, they are able to consistently grow morels. But that's like cutting edge of mushroom cultivation that has just started to come out. So I'm excited for it. I would love for there to be more morels that are available more of the time.
So now finding morels on our property is just like finding gold pretty much.
It's a gift from nature.
All right, so here's one over here.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't see that giant one that you stepped on.
Ditch the horn. Yes, I'm telling you.
That is morel hunting for you. Oh, nice.
This is the one I stepped on.
Still good condition.
I guess your bag's probably overflowing over there, huh?
Yeah, the one part of that equation that we are now largely missing in basically all of North America that used to be here was fire. In a lot of areas that have like really dense growth, like closed canopy, there would have been fire that was knocking down smaller trees, that was knocking down fire intolerant trees. Like a lot of our invasive species are fire intolerant because they grew up in an environment that didn't have fire.
Oh, right in front of you.
There's another couple right over there.
Sorry.
In front of me or him?
Yeah, well, I saw this one in front of you right there.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry for cutting you off.
So yeah, it's a big thing that I talk about. A friend of mine, Kyle from Native Habitat Project, talks about it a bunch, that we really need to be bringing fire back into these places in order to kind of like promote the native ecology that used to be there that is really, really threatened now because we don't have any more fire.
Well, come up and help us do it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Sounds fun.
We could, that'd be an amazing video to do.
Yeah, I'm seeing them everywhere now. Morel hunting's never going to be fun for you again after this. I'm sorry.
I think you guys are going to become best friends on this one. You know, I'm pretty sure that since you're never going to sell the land, I'm sure Jesse's never going to not come back.
This will be, a permanent destination now.
What do you think about that one? Is it too far?
Yeah, that one looks like when they're that kind of brown and darkened, oftentimes
Yeah, that's that smell.
they'll be a little bit mushy. You're looking right at it, I think.
Oh, okay, I see it.
That is the joy of morel hunting. Oh, there's one right there. Dang, this is awesome.
Were you looking?
So I see that one there, and then there's one there, and then one more right next to it.
Oh yeah, I see that one.
And there's a little baby one just to the right, like just about maybe
Oh yeah, I see it.
10 inches to the right. So yeah, there's this one crazy place in Birmingham that the Alabama Mushroom Society hosts their morel foray at, which just has absurd morels. Outside of that particular case, this is by far the most prolific morel spot that I have ever had the pleasure of getting to forage.
Oh my gosh.
See that nice blonde color right there? Like they call these blonde morels. That's what you're looking for. That's a nice one right there. Still has a really nice texture.
And
Is
so,
that like a patch of mayapple down there or something? That's weird.
oh, that is weird. And so, in a big open field, what kinds of things would you look for here?
So here are just a couple of things that I'm seeing. We have purple dead nettle, which I like to make tea out of. You've got a bunch of violets right in there. Things that I would generally also be looking for would be like Canadian wild lettuce. You can find a lot of field garlic in an area like this, chickweed. The list goes on and on. There's tons of plants that would grow in a setting. Here is the purple dead nettle that I was just mentioning. Here we have our
harvesting. Can we just harvest?
yeah. So violets right there. Can you eat this one? You don't have cows in here, do you?
Huh?
Okay.
No. Or the stem too.
Yeah, all aerial parts
There
are
we go.
edible. Yeah, have yourself a little bit of violet. Probably doesn't taste like much.
It's subtle, but I mean, if you add that to a salad, it would make the salad look so cool. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of elements of being able to, you know, eat with your eyes, as they say. Here is field garlic, wild allium plants. Yeah, if you wanted to make the dead nettle tea, yeah, purple dead nettle is the common name for it. I would just gather the whole aerial part. You can't get too much of it. It's a non-native plant, so you're not like impacting native ecology or anything like that. Like over there, you see that it seems like there's a lot more of them. So yeah, I mean, I would get like
Oh, I see it now.
3 or 4 handfuls of them because you need a lot to get some good flavor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm literally just gathering the above ground portions of them.
And you have a video on how to make that tea, right?
I do,
Okay.
yes.
So I'll put a link for that.
And how to distinguish it. So this is the one that I prefer, purple dead nettle. The flowers look very similar to its cousin, which is called henbit. Personally, I don't like henbit. I don't think it tastes very good, but I really like purple dead nettle. So in the video, I also show you how to distinguish purple dead nettle from henbit.
I'm so excited to try it. I'm big into tea. Is it caffeinated at all?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's not like, some people are really, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess pedantic about the use of the term tea. Tea is technically, like coffee is the plant, and tea is also technically the plant. So it has to be the tea plant for it to be tea. But, you know, colloquially, we use tea for like any hot infusion. Oh, okay, so this is what I wanted to find. It was right in front of us the whole time. So this is called Canadian or American wild lettuce. It looks a lot like dandelion, but a really easy way to tell apart. That might be dandelion. We can find out in a second. So number one, a young rosette of Canadian wild lettuce like this will tend to have, let's see, yeah, that is. So it's gonna have hairs like sometimes on the top along the midrib, and then on the bottom as well, to varying degrees. But then another detail is that when you cut it across right here, it's going to have a triangular midrib. Dandelion will have a rounded midrib, so if you cut across here, it'd be rounded. That's a really easy way to tell them apart.
The fact that you just know all this stuff is so incredible.
Yeah, it's
How do you remember all?
I don't know. I don't know. It's like.
Dad's over here.
Yeah, you can.
It's really good.
Interesting.
Was this supposed to be a little bitter?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It was. I know you got something to say about this.
Look at this right here. Awesome. So clearly, did you plant this or did you just mark it?
I just marked it.
Okay, yeah. So here we have a really beautiful pawpaw tree. The flowers are unmistakable on them. These kind of like, you know, little purple maroon bell-shaped flowers that point downwards. Literally just yesterday, I released a new video about how to manually pollinate wild pawpaw trees. Is there another one around it?
Yeah. Well, we got a big passion over there.
Okay.
I marked one over there. Can you look at that with me real quick?
Yeah, that does look like pawpaw.
Okay.
Yes, that's a pawpaw. That's a pawpaw.
Okay.
And this one is a pawpaw. Yeah, so you can, like, because right here, this one is the buckthorn. I think one thing that would probably easily distinguish them.
Oh yeah.
A cool thing about pawpaw is that it has a really strong, I think of it like kind of like gasoline or like green pepper aroma.
Yeah.
Let's get one of the trees. I don't want to take too much from this young one. We'll get one that's older. And
Yeah,
I
we
can
got
show you guys.
a bigger one over there.
But also you have these like long fuzzy buds there at the end. Although that wouldn't help you distinguish it from this one, the Carolina buckthorn, because it does have similar naked buds. This tree is probably too young to be able to like bear and support fruit. So we won't worry about like taking some of these flowers, which is where the fruit would come. But it is producing pollen right there. These flowers are at the male stage. Pawpaws are sequential hermaphrodites, which is very weird. So the flowers start female and then they turn male. So this one's at the male stage right now with all the pollen around it. So I'm gonna take some of these. Normally we have like a paintbrush to do this. I just posted a video that talks more about it. And some of the, so yeah, this one right here, see how it's smooth on the inside? Like that?
Oh yeah.
This one's at the female stage. So pawpaw trees are self-infertile, so we can't take the male pollen here to pollinate the female flower there on the same tree. In addition to that, they reproduce clonally. So maybe at the other area, if it looks like there's 3 trees close to one another, it could all be the same tree. So we might not know if they are or not. So what we can do is we can take the male pollen from this one and then go down to the other spot and use it to pollinate them. Yeah, that is a male stage one. The inner part is really dusty and you can literally see the pollen all over it. So left is female, very smooth, and then the pistil in the middle is glossy. Right is male. And they say, if you smell them, yeah, they kind of smell a little bit like rotting fruit, like kind of, yeah, although I can't smell much right now.
Is this what you thought it was?
Yes,
Okay.
These are mayapple. Kind of similar, in fact, similar in many ways to the pawpaw before. I don't know about the self-infertility of mayapple, whether they are or not, but they reproduce clonally, and there are like females and there are males. So the females, they split. And here you can see is a little baby flower, hasn't opened up yet.
Oh yeah.
So this one's a female, and then this one with the single stem right here, that's a male. So this is where we'll be able to get the mayapple fruit from.
And what's the fruit like? Is it big or?
It's probably about like this big and kind of like long, so like something like that. And they are notoriously hard to get because animals will get them far before we can. But you can pick them and have them ripen off of the vine. So like when they're just starting to turn color, then you can pick them. You don't want to have them unripe. They are toxic if they're unripe. They taste pretty good. They taste to me kind of like passion fruit does. Very similar to that.
And how do you know if they're ripe?
They'll be like very vibrant yellow.
Okay.
Like a deep color will have developed on them.
We'll definitely have to.
And
You might have to
taste.
shoot me a message when they're getting ripe.
Yeah.
Or just come. So this is like my favorite place on the property because of the pawpaw. We need to bring our ladder, Dad, or the tractor. Lift us up in the bucket.
Yeah. No, legitimately. Here are these pawpaw trees. They're definitely old enough to bear fruit, and they're relatively far away from the other spot that we got those flowers from. So what we can do, I'm gonna have to reach for something a little bit. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Alrighty, now normally we would do this with, oh, you know what? We could use, this branch is like not doing too good, so it would keep on growing really strongly this way, and we probably don't want to do that. So I'm not gonna mind taking this little piece of the twig right there. Probably not a great way to cut a branch. Still can't smell a lot. All right, so I'm using the terminal bud of pawpaw as my paintbrush to manually pollinate a pawpaw.
You might have just invented something just now.
That feels pretty cool. That feels very cool, I have to admit. Here's one of our male flowers, and I'm gonna use, this is so funny, I'm gonna use my little pawpaw paintbrush to grab some of that pollen, like that, so now it's on there. Take these female flowers right here. It's gonna be kind of hard to get this usually because of the lighting, and it's like shades itself. And I'm just gonna brush it on that glossy part in the middle. It's called the pistil. Just like that. That's all there is to it. We have pollinated these pawpaw flowers. Yeah, another thing that I generally do when I'm out doing this is I'll take a Sharpie with me or like some type of marker, and I'll mark the ones that I manually pollinated.
You want a Sharpie?
Well, there we go. Yeah, just so that, one, you don't do the same ones twice. Let's see, I think that one was the male. Yeah, so I marked this female right here. But also, we can check these later on and see if it worked. And doing this, we can really, really increase the fruiting rates of wild pawpaw trees.
That's so exciting.
There's a bunch of chickweed out here that we could get for cooking with, for salad or whatever it might be. There's another one that I think is like an actually good wild green. A lot of wild greens that people say are good, in my opinion, are not that good. But this one's pretty good. And so we have these opposite simple leaves on them right here. And then another cool feature about chickweed, a line of hairs. See, there's a line of hair right there. And then where it hits the node, it will shift a bit. So the line kind of like alternates its way up.
And it's only on one side too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Probably a Fibonacci thing in there somewhere.
And then, is this yellow one it too?
No, this one's actually toxic.
Oh.
It's like a group of very common toxic plants. It's not gonna you're not gonna die from eating it or anything, but it just wouldn't be good. So yeah, we're looking for these white flowers right here.
Don't let Danner pick the chickweed. He'll poison your food.
That used to look like that in the middle of the summer.
Yeah.
But it was green like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then our main spring head is coming out of here, and we'll see that. So what would you imagine on this, in this kind of area? Would you still get morels in this kind of?
Yeah, you definitely could.
Really? God. All right, well, we'll go down and we'll do it.
Checking up on our spring over here. It's flowing pretty nice. We found one. Oh, and there's another. Here, watch your step. We're in.
No way. I can't believe they're over here. As many
Dude, that's awesome.
Where? It sure is.
So-
One right in front of your foot.
Yep, one right front there, and the other one.
Oh, yeah?
That's a good looking one too.
Oh, here's another little one.
We're going back into the road.
Oh, you know what? Dude, I kept looking at this. I was like, this looks
It
weird
is?
over here. It's a tiny butt of one, like a stem. Oh, I didn't even see that one. Yeah, they are definitely around the poplar.
Jesse is the Morel sorcerer. That's what he is.
No, Darren's the one that found it.
He conjures up Morel wherever he goes. He's like, oh, he does this.
You got to sing to him.
Yeah, you're like resonating with the universe.
This is garlic mustard. So he's got kind of looks like broccoli a little bit on the top there. It's got these flowers with 4 petals on them. If we really, really zoomed in, it's gonna have 4 stamens in the center, 4 tall ones and 2 short ones. Those are all indicative of the Brassica family. And yeah,
You're eating the whole thing?
eating the whole thing. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, wow.
Is it spicy?
Oh,
Very spicy. Wow, it really is a little bit garlicky.
yeah.
That's weird.
It's like that raw garlic kind of taste.
With like wasabi. Yeah. This stuff is actually invasive, so you can use as much of it as you want.
All right, Jesse. Well, that was so much fun doing that. I was not
Likewise.
expecting all those morels, and we loved having you here. It was amazing.
Thanks for having me. I had a great time. Got to explore this amazing property. We found a lot of cool things. The Pawpaw was a real treat, and nice garlic mustard to finish it off.
It's still just lingering in my mouth.
It's very strong, very strong.
Well, that's going to be a wrap for this video, and I'll put links for Jesse, everything we talked about today down in the description. And also I want to give a big thank you to everyone that has liked and subscribed, and also thank you to everyone that backs us over on Patreon. Really appreciate your support, and we'll see you guys next time.